Suicide prevention is huge. And I think that where I come from, living in the 805, living in Oxnard, that it is something that we don't talk about enough, especially in the Latinx culture, coming from strong religious, Catholic or Christian, whatever it may be. But we don't talk about mental health. We don't talk about how we're feeling. We don't talk about how outside factors affect us as people and individuals because it seems like it's just too taboo. And it's time to take the tape off our mouths and talk about suicide prevention and ask people how they're feeling. And if they're not feeling good today, that it's okay that you're having a bad day. And you don't have to suck it up anymore. To know that it's real. I am a survivor of suicide. I've had over 13 attempts in my young 20s. And this is my best friend, Ron. Ron is a part of my story. This is my best friend. In high school, God, I went class clown, of course, because I thought I was a hoot. But behind that class clown, it was somebody fake, somebody who I didn't realize, somebody who I couldn't even identify with, lost in my gender identity, lost in sexuality, because it was not okay to be gay when I went to high school. I would have been bullied. I was already bullied because I was overweight. So because all of these outside things, social determinants of what make us people, these labels, I fell into addiction. I fell into the same pattern that my family fell into, and Ron as well. And so in our mid-20s, we're out of control. We're out of high school. Nobody told us about finances or relationships or boundaries or mental health or stress or anxiety. We don't talk about that stuff because you're crazy if you have issues like that. And for my men out there, you're brought up on suck it up. You're not supposed to cry. Put some dirt on it. Today I heard if there's no blood, no foul. But that's not real. And for females, you're oversensitive. You're overreacting. And that's what society has done to us, and that's why we lose so many people. That's why I was lost as well. I lost Ron in 2013. And we were both on a huge bender of alcohol. Alcohol was my primary addiction. And I didn't even realize then it was a depressant. But here I was just numbing myself to cover up that pain because I didn't want to feel anything anymore. There were feelings of rejection, of not being accepted, having a Bible thrown at you because you're telling your family members who you love, but God won't accept you for that. Becoming homeless, all because of who it is that you're trying to be authentically. Imagine living in the wrong body for so long and nobody can relate, nor can you talk to people about that. The slander that you hear from your own family. Oh, that's your crazy uncle. Knowing that in the DSM-5 that being a homosexual was in the same category as being a pedophile. Where's the safety? There's no safety for people that are struggling. And so when I lost Ron, we were out of control. I was lost. I was pretending, we were both pretending to be somebody that we didn't know who to be, nor were we taught how to even be successful. And with that, on the day that I lost Ron, on January 15th of 2013, I thought I was rocking and rolling. I had a good job, what I thought it was paying mediocre money. I was going through school, going through the actual addictive disorder studies program as I'm still in full-blown addiction. What a coinkydink, right? How funny is that? And so here I am working through this program as I'm actually needing recovery myself. And here is my best friend and I drinking excessively until 5 a.m, taking opioids, and we're in an opioid epidemic, getting to the point to where we're snorting these pills. Because just the feeling of escaping, of not living in that reality was release. And so on the 15th, that's when the drugs weren't enough to cover up the pain for my best friend, Ron. And on that day, it was a good day. I was getting a job promotion, and my phone was ringing and ringing and ringing. And it was him calling me. This guy was my brother who saw me, the real me. And I missed his call. And I called him back so many times. And I got his last message telling me how sorry he was to let me down and how much he was going to miss me, but that he just could not take this pain anymore and the suffering and despair. It's inconceivable, the hurt, the pain, the trauma when you lose somebody, because it's not just the person that you lose, it affects everybody. The trauma of suicide, of not being able to ask that question, are you going to commit suicide today? Are you not feeling like you? It's okay to not be okay, because I'm here to listen to you, to support you, to take off the tape of the stigma. Then men can cry. And so after I lost Ron, I made 13 attempts to lose my life too. By the grace of my higher power, I'm in this seat today, because I don't know how I am still alive after taking over 22 Xanax. I am a survivor of cutting myself because it was a release, and I have these scars to remind me. And it's not something that shames me, but it explains to where my story has come, as that my story is not over, because I am a survivor, and I'm surviving for people who feel like they have lost their voice. And just today, another one of my middle school friends passed away from overdose. So it is just full circle with this epidemic. And I cannot stand to lose another loved one. And I almost lost myself. It took the pain, the loss, the grief of losing my best friend in order to kick my behind into sobriety, in order to find something that was going to work for me, to take away that stigma that, Latinx families, that we don't go to therapy. Therapy is cool. Thank God for my therapist, because I needed to talk to somebody who didn't know me, who wasn't going to judge me, who wasn't going to care if I was gay, and finding out what type of gay I even am, and figuring out where I even fit in. Dealing of what the childhood traumas of seeing my father in addiction, of seeing domestic violence, of knowing that everybody else, that these things don't discriminate against people, and taking care of your emotional self, of putting your mental health first so that you can survive. I want people to survive because they deserve to have their story be told, because everybody matters. And if you don't have suicide prevention or have real people talking about this in the community, then how can you relate? And that's why I really love doing what I do. And that's why I talk about my story, even though, as you can see, I'm still grieving through it as well, because I'm human, because I still have a lot of stuff on my plate and I'm still working through it. But I know that it's worth it. And I know what happens with the loss. So people come to me and they reach out for help. I am that safe, warm handoff. I am that person that's going to connect you to resources. I am that person for that student who is questioning their gender identity, who can't go home because their family is talking mess to them about being gay. I'm that person that's helping people come out the closet when it comes to mental health, when it comes to suicide prevention, when it comes to talk about your feelings, period. I want to be that brave person for people and safe person, because I can't lose another person that I love. So that's why I do what I do. That's me.